The light shone and fell, but there were no shadows. In this world, on this terrain, there was no day and there was no night.
And there were no seasons, and so no storms or cold from which to take shelter. And in this world, there were many things blessed with unquestionable truth and purpose and beauty.
There were steep mountains, there were valleys, there were seas, there were plains of grass,
there were deserts,
there were rivers,
there were
forests, there were vertebrates
and invertebrates,
there were mammals,
there were reptiles,
there were creatures of the dry land and the water, and there were birds.
And they lived in this world not yet divided, not yet examined, not yet numbered, not yet dead. I looked at this world as it revealed itself to me. How new, how new. And I longed to go there.
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 Wash the white clothes on Monday and put them on the stone heap.
Wash the
colored clothes on Tuesday and put them on the clothesline to dry. Don't walk barehead in the hot sun.
Wash the white clothes on Monday and put them on the stone heap.
Buy cotton, get yourself a nice blouse. Be sure that it doesn't have gum on it, because that way it won't hold up well after a wash. Soak saltfish overnight before you cook it.
Don't walk barehead in the hot sun. Cook pumpkin fritters in very hot, sweet oil.
Is it true that you sing Benna in Sunday school? Always eat your food in such a way that it won't turn someone else's stomach. On Sundays, try to walk like a lady and not like the slut you are so bent on becoming. Don't sing Benna in Sunday school.
You mustn't speak to wharf rat boys, not even to give directions. Don't eat fruits on the street. Flies will follow you.
But I don't sing Benna on Sundays at all, and never in Sunday school.
This is how to sew on a button. This is how to make a buttonhole for the button you have just sewed on.
This is how to dress when you see the hem coming down, and so to prevent yourself
from being like the slut I know you are so bent on becoming.
This is how you iron your father's khaki shirt so that it doesn't have a crease. This is how you grow okra.
Far from the house.
Because okra tree harbors red ants. When you're growing dasheen, make sure it gets plenty of water, or else it makes your throat itch.
This is how you sweep a corner.
This is how you sweep a whole house. This is how you sweep a yard. This is how you smile to someone you don't like too much.
This is how you smile to someone you don't like at all. This is how you smile to someone you like completely.
This is how you set a table for tea. This is how you set a table for dinner. This is how you set a table for dinner with an important guest.
This is how you set a table for lunch.
This is how you set a table for breakfast.
This is how to behave in the presence of men who don't know you very well.
And this way they won't recognize immediately
the slut I have warned you against becoming.
Be sure to wash every day, even if it is with your own spit. Don't squat down to play marbles. You're not a boy, you know. Don't pick people's flowers.
You might catch something.
Don't throw stones
at blackbirds because
it might not be a blackbird
it might not be a blackbird at all.
This is how to make a bread pudding. This is how to make dokona. This is how to make pepper pot. This is how to make a good medicine
for a cold.
This is how to make good medicine to throw away a child before it even becomes a child. This is how to catch a fish.
This is how to catch a fish.
This is how to throw back a fish you don't like. And that way something bad won't fall on you.
This is how to bully a man. This is how a man bullies you. This is how to love a man. And if this doesn't work, there are other ways. And if they don't work, don't feel too bad about giving up.
This is how to spit up in the air if you feel like it.
And this is how to move quick so that it doesn't fall on you.
This is how to make ends meet.
Always squeeze bread to make sure it's fresh.
But what if the baker won't let me feel the bread?
You mean to say that after all, you are really going to be the kind of woman who the baker won't let near the bread?
Now the day is over, night is drawing nigh, shadows of the evening steal across the sky. Now the day is over, night is drawing nigh, shadows of the evening steal across the sky.
What I have been doing lately. I was lying in bed and the doorbell rang. I ran downstairs. Quick, I opened the door. There was no one there. I stepped outside. Either it was drizzling or there was a lot of dust in the air and the dust was damp. I stuck up my tongue and the drizzle or the damp dust tasted like government school ink. I looked north. I looked south. I decided to start walking north.
I walked for I don't know how long before I came up to a big body of water. I wanted to get across it, but I couldn't swim. I wanted to get across it, but it would take me years to build a boat. I wanted to get across it, but it would take me I didn't know how long to build a bridge. Years passed, and then one day, feeling like it, I got into my boat and rowed across. When I got to the other side, it was noon, and my shadow was small and fell beneath me. I set out on a path that stretched out straight ahead.
I passed a house, and a dog was sitting on the veranda, but it looked the other way when it saw me coming. I passed a boy tossing a ball in the air, but the boy looked the other way when he saw me coming. I walked, and I walked. But I couldn't tell if I walked a long time because my feet didn't feel as if they would drop off. I turned around to see what I had left behind me, but nothing was familiar. Instead of the straight path, I saw hills. Instead of the boy with his ball, I saw tall, flowering trees.
I turned around and looked ahead of me again. A deep hole had opened up before me. I looked in. The hole was deep and dark and I couldn't see the bottom. I thought, what's down there? So on no purpose I fell in. I fell and I fell over and over as if I were an old suitcase. On the sides of the deep hole I could see things written, but perhaps it was in a foreign language because I couldn't read them. Still I fell, for I don't know how long.
As I fell, I began to see that I didn't like the way falling made me feel. Falling made me feel sick, and I missed all the people I had loved. I said, I don't want to fall anymore, and I reversed myself. I was standing again on the edge of the deep hole. I looked at the deep hole and I said, you can close up now, and it did.
I walked some more without knowing distance. I only knew that I passed through days and nights. I only knew that I passed through rain and shine, light and darkness. I was never thirsty and I felt no pain. Looking at the horizon, I made a joke for myself. I said, the earth has thin lips, and I laughed.
Looking at the horizon again, I saw a lone figure coming toward me, but I wasn't frightened because I was sure it was my mother. As I got closer to the figure, I could see that it wasn't my mother, but still I wasn't frightened because I could see that it was a woman. When this woman got closer to me, she looked at me hard, and then she threw up her hands. She must have seen me somewhere before because she said, it's you. Just look at that. It's you. And just what have you been doing lately?
And just what have you been doing lately? I could have said, I've been praying not to grow any taller.
Each moment is not as fragile and as fleeting as I once thought. Each moment is hard and lasting and so holds so much that I must mourn for. And so what a bitter thing to say to me, that life is the intrusion, that to embrace a thing as beauty is the intrusion, that to believe a thing true and therefore undeniable, that is the intrusion. And yes, false are all appearances. What a bitter thing to say to me, I, who for time unaccountable, have always seen myself as newly born, filled with a truth and a beauty that could not be denied, living in a world of light that I called eternal, a world that can know no end.
I could have said, I have been listening carefully to my mother's words so as to make a good imitation of a dutiful daughter.
Time and time again, I am filled up with all that I thought life might be. Glorious moment upon glorious moment of contentment and joy and love running into each other and forming an extraordinary chain,
a hymn sung in rounds.
I could have said, a pack of dogs, tired from chasing each other all over town, slept in the moonlight.
Is life then a violent burst of light, like flint struck sharply in the dark? If so, I must continually strive to exist between the day and the day. I see myself as I was a child. How much I was loved and how much I loved.
Instead, I said, what have I been doing lately? I was lying in bed on my back, my hands drawn up, my fingers interlaced lightly of my neck. Someone rang the doorbell. I went downstairs and opened the door, but there was no one there.
I stepped outside. Either it was drizzling, or
Is
there was a
life
lot of
then
dust
a violent burst of light,
and the dust was
Like
damp.
flint struck sharply in the dark.
I stuck out my tongue,
So I
and
must
the drizzle
continually
or the
strive
damp
to exist
dust tasted like
dead. I
government
see
school.
myself
as I was a child.
as I was as a
How
child.
much I was loved
How
and
much I was
I saw the
loved,
roof.
and how much I loved. How much I was loved, and how much I loved.
Yet what was this light in which I stood?
While walking north, I looked up and saw the planet Venus, and I said, if the sun went out, it would be 8 minutes before I would know it.
How singly, then, will the heart desire and pursue the small glowing thing resting in the distance, surrounded by darkness? How then, if on conquering the distance, the heart embraces the small glowing thing until heart and glowing thing are indistinguishable, and in this way the darkness is made less?
I walked for I don't know how long before I came to a big body of water. I wanted to get across, so when the boat came, I paid my fare. When I got to the other side, I saw a lot of people sitting on the beach, and they were having a picnic.
They were the most beautiful people I had ever seen. Everything about them was black and shiny. Their skin was black and shiny. Their shoes were black and shiny. Their hair was black and shiny. The clothes that they wore were black and shiny. I could hear them laughing and chatting, and I said, I would like to be with these people. So I started to walk toward them.
But when I got up close to them, I saw that they weren't at a picnic, and they weren't beautiful, and they weren't chatting and laughing. All around me was black mud, and the people all looked as if they had been made up out of the black mud. I looked up and I saw that the sky seemed far away, and nothing I could stand on would make me be able to touch it with my fingertips. I thought, if only I could get out of this.
For
So I
now,
started
a
to
door
walk.
might suddenly be pushed open, and the morning light might rush
I
in,
must have walked for a long time because my feet hurt and felt as if they would drop off.
revealing to me creation and a force whose nature is implacable,
I
unmindful
thought,
of
if
any
only
of the
just
individual
around the
needs of
bend I would see
existence.
my house, and inside my house I would find my bed, freshly made at that, and in the kitchen I would find my mother or anyone else that I loved making me a custard.
I might then come to believe in a being whose impartiality I cannot now or ever fully understand and accept.
I thought, if only it was a Sunday and I was sitting in a church and I had just heard someone sing a song.
When shall I too be extinguished, so that I
cannot be recognized even from my
I
bones?
felt very sad, so I sat down.
When shall I too be extinguished, so that I cannot be recognized even from my bones?
I felt so sad that I rested my head on my own knees and smoothed my own head.
How singly then will the heart desire and pursue the small glowing thing resting in the distance.
Surrounded by darkness.
I
felt so sad I couldn't
I
imagine
couldn't
feeling
any
other
other way.
I said, I don't like this. I don't want to do this anymore.
When shall I too be extinguished, so that I cannot be recognized even from my bones?
And I went back to lying in bed just before the doorbell rang.
I covet the rocks and the mountains, their silence. And so, emerging from my pit, the one I sealed up securely, the one to which I have consigned all my deeds that I care not to reveal. Emerging from this pit, I step into a room, and I see that the lamp is lit.
In the light of the lamp, I see some books. I see a chair. I see a table. I see a pen. I see a bowl of ripe fruit, a bottle of milk, a flute made of wood, the clothes that I will wear. And as I see these things in the light of the lamp,
all perishable and transient, how bound up I know I am to all that is human endeavor, to all that is past, and to all that shall be, to all that shall be lost and leave no trace. I claim these things, then, mine, and now feel myself grow solid and complete, my name filling up my mouth.